I really loved this book a lot. For those of you who don't know, The Martian is about an astronaut named Mark Watney who gets stranded on Mars because during their emergency escape mission off of Mars, his crewmates think that he dies, so they leave him there, but he didn't die. In the process, though, of this whole emergency evacuation and stuff happening that made it be an emergency, all of the stuff that he could use to communicate with the ship that has now left Mars or communicate with NASA is all broken. So he's stuck by himself on Mars with no way to communicate to anyone. I liked everything about it, even the parts that weren't my favorite part, I still didn't dislike. So those parts are the math and science talk. So he does a lot of math talk and science talk. He explains how he gets to certain things a lot, because he makes his own water and he grows potatoes. And there's a few other things that happen in it that he uses math to explain how he does things and stuff and why explosions happen and stuff like that. I kind of skimmed over a lot of the math. I knew I wasn't going to understand it. Reading it wasn't going to make a difference. I just skimmed over a lot of the numbers and was like, okay, whatever. But I appreciated that it was there. I appreciated that the math and the science was there to make all of the outcomes plausible. If he just said, oh, I can grow potatoes because I know how to do that, I would have been like, no, you can't grow potatoes on Mars, you idiot. Or if he was like, oh, I can make water, so I just made water from the hydrogen, or whatever, however he did it. I would have been like, you can't just make water. So because there were numbers, there was explanations that were like paragraphs long sometimes, it made the story plausible to me, it made it feel believable, that I was like, oh, okay, you can grow potatoes on Mars, and okay, you can make water out of not water. I also appreciated that it was there because I know there are probably people reading this who do understand that math and science, and without the explanations there, they would have been like, excuse me, can you back this up, please? And with the backing up, then they'd be like, okay, that makes sense. So for me, I wasn't like, oh, that makes sense. Instead, I was like, okay, great, you know what you're doing, and you're just telling me about it. That's good. Also, because of the voice, it was written in, like, journal entries, a lot of the story was. So it was very casual, the way it was written, so it was almost as if a friend who I really like and care about is telling me something that I don't care about, but that they care about. So you know, if someone that you really care about is passionate about something, and you know they really love telling people about it, and they love telling people who they care about, and they know care about them about it. My boyfriend really likes sports, and I do not. I don't mind watching some hockey games sometimes, or Blue Jays. I'll watch Blue Jays games, and I really, really like going to Blue Jays games when you're actually there in person, and I like sitting really close to the field. But other than that, I have no interest. My boyfriend has a really big interest, and I love my boyfriend, and I care about him, and I want him to be able to tell me things that excite him and interest him. So if he wants to tell me about things that happen in baseball, I will listen to it gladly. It almost had that kind of feeling, like I cared about this character, I was interested in him, and he was telling me something that he felt he needed to tell me, so I was listening. Except not 100%, because I did skim. A little bit with the explanations. But that's the kind of feeling it gave me. So, yep, it was over my head. Nope, I didn't understand it, but it didn't bother me. It didn't ruin my reading experience at all. I also thought it was really exciting, and I also thought it was hilarious. Mark, hilarious. I loved Mark. I loved his outlook. I loved how positive he was. I also loved how just accepting he was. Like, he didn't want to die. No, no one wants to die. But he knew that if things didn't go as planned, he was going to die. And there's no sense in crying about it. Why would he cry about it? That's just going to make the rest of his life even crappier. So he's like, shit, I'm going to die if this doesn't work out. Which is a good way to look at it. I mean, I would cry. But it's good that he wasn't, and I enjoyed reading that voice. I really liked it. I was just really, really interested and excited to see how he was going to get home, and if he was going to get home. And when one plan failed, I was like, no! And then I was like, okay, Mark, now what can you do? And it was just, it was good. It also had a few points of, like a few chapters and back and forth things from people at NASA and the people on the ship that he was supposed to be on, which also built the intensity, and yes. Yeah. It was really good. I really loved it. I definitely think this is going to be one of my favorite books of this year. I'm also really excited for the movie. I'm disappointed in the trailer though, only because like the clips they showed looked great, and a lot of the narration was like word for word from the book, which was fantastic, and it feels like they're going to keep the same type of character, that Matt Damon's going to play the same type of character that Mark was in the book, which is great, but I feel like the trailer gave way too much away. There was even one point, because I want to go see the movie with my boyfriend when it comes out, and I was like, I want to tell you everything that's happening in this book, but I can't because I want us to see the movie and it'll spoil it. And there was one point, maybe halfway through the book, I'm not entirely sure how far it is in the book, but it's at least halfway through, I think. It's pretty far away into the book. And I can't remember if I laughed or said, oh no, but one of those two things happened loudly. And Anthony heard me from the other room, and he said, what was that? What was that? What happened? And so I told him what happened in the book, not thinking, and then I was like, oh no, that was just a huge spoiler! But then it was in the trailer, so apparently it's not a spoiler, but I think it is a huge spoiler. Huge, ginormous spoiler to the plot line, but that's all, I guess. Those are my thoughts. I don't know. Anyway, I really enjoyed this book, so if the whole math thing doesn't bother you, or if you don't mind skimming over math things, or if you feel like you might have the same feelings towards it as I did, then I really suggest that you pick this book up because it's a lot of fun, and it's really exciting, and it's edge of your seat, and it's funny. So, yes. And plausible, due to math.